Okay, so this is one of those stories that still makes my skin crawl when I think about it. It happened when I was around 14 or 15. My dad, little brother, and grandparents decided to take a road trip from Texas to Tennessee to visit some family. Seemed innocent enough, right? Just a regular family getaway. We booked this quaint little bed and breakfast up in the hills, before Airbnb and all that was even a thing. I remember thinking it looked like something out of a postcard. It was this big old Victorian house, pale yellow, perched at the top of a slope. A slow river twisted through the backyard, and everything about the place just screamed storybook, but with a hint of something else underneath. I couldn't put my finger on it. Inside it was cozy, wooden floors that groaned under every step, and that old clawfoot tub in the bathroom. I was obsessed. It was the kind of place where the owners lived next door and served you breakfast in the morning. I remember feeling instantly safe there, like I'd stepped into a bubble where time slowed down. During the day, my brother and I roamed the property. We skipped rocks across the river and splashed around in the shallows, mud between our toes, air filled with the sound of crickets, and wind in the trees. It was quiet in that old world way, like the walls had memories older than any of us, like the silence had learned how to breathe. That night, after a long day of hiking and visiting cousins, we all turned in early. My little brother made a blanket nest on the floor in my grandparents' room. I was set up on this creaky metal folding cot at the foot of my dad's bed. I remember how heavy I felt, like the weight of the day had pushed into my bones. I don't even remember my dad turning off the light, just the sensation of sinking into the mattress like it was swallowing me whole. Then nothing. Until I woke up. No sound, no shift in temperature. Nothing specific pulled me from sleep. I just woke. I lay there for a second, blinking at the dim light bleeding through those thin, gauzy curtains. At first, it was all completely normal. Dad was snoring softly. His wallet and belt were exactly where he'd left them on the dresser. My jacket still hung on the hook behind the door. Everything looked the same. Everything felt the same. But I knew something wasn't right. It was subtle at first, like the air had changed, gone heavy and still. I tried to sit up, maybe grab some water or head to the bathroom. That's when I realized I couldn't move. At all. Not my arms, not my legs, not even a finger. It was like something had pressed down on me, freezing every muscle in place. I wasn't dreaming. I could see everything, perfectly clear, but I couldn't speak, couldn't scream, couldn't even twitch. Panic started bubbling up, crawling from my gut into my chest. I fought it at first, told myself it was sleep paralysis, that it'd pass, but this felt different, colder. The stillness wasn't just around me, it was inside me. That's when I saw them. 2 figures. I swear to you, they hadn't been there before. They stood near my dad's bed, no taller than 3 or 4 feet, just standing there in complete silence, watching. They weren't human, not even close. Their bodies shimmered in the dim light, dark green with a kind of glittering, oily sheen, like if moss had been carved into something alive. Their heads were elongated, like a stretched skull, no real eyes or mouth, just this smooth, alien shape. They reminded me, years later, of the things from Alien vs. Predator. But I hadn't even seen that movie yet. When I finally did, it hit me like a gut punch. Each of them was holding something, tools, weapons maybe. Same strange green, carved right from their bodies, it looked like. Sleek and smooth like melted glass, but sharp in a way I could feel without touching. They didn't speak, not out loud, but I heard them, clear as day, in my mind, like they dropped the words directly into my skull. The one closest to my dad said, "Okay, now we just need this one." And the other replied, "I already did the 2 in the other room." My blood turned to ice. My grandparents, my little brother, they were in that room. The 2 in the other room. I wanted to scream. I wanted to leap out of bed and run to them, but I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Then the second one turned toward me, slowly, smoothly, like it had just realized I was there. "What about this one?" it asked. The first one gave the most casual, heartless shrug I've ever seen. "We don't need that one. You know that. Just the males." It was like I wasn't even a person to them, just background noise, extra, discardable. But the second one kept looking at me, its head tilted, slowly, like it was curious, or maybe amused. Then it said, "It can see us." The first one didn't even glance over. "It doesn't matter. But hurry. Get it done if you must." That's when it started walking toward me. No sound, no footsteps, just a smooth glide across the wooden floor like it was floating. Inside I was screaming. I mean, every part of me was begging to move, to roll off the bed, to scream for my dad, anything. But nothing worked. I was locked in my own skin, frozen, helpless. I could see everything. Every slow, fluid step this thing took as it came closer and closer. I remember the faint glint of its body in the moonlight, the way it tilted its head as it stared down at me, and I swear, right before it reached the side of my cot, it smiled. Not a human smile, not something warm or kind. It was predatory, like it enjoyed that I was terrified, like it could taste my fear. My heart was thundering so loud I could feel it in my teeth. I kept trying to will myself to move, to scream, to blink, but nothing, not even a twitch, just that one tear. I felt it slowly slide down the side of my cheek, warm and humiliating, and I couldn't even wipe it away. That tiny act felt like it was 1,000 miles out of reach. The creature raised its hand. I didn't know if it was going to touch me, or use whatever weird object it held, or something worse. But I felt it, this low vibration in the air, like static just before a lightning strike. It was right there, inches from my face. My pulse was a roar in my ears. I remember praying, not even words, just desperate thoughts. Please no, God no. And then, just like that, nothing. Darkness, silence, no sound, no sensation, like I'd been shut off. I don't know how long I was out. Could have been seconds or hours, but the next thing I remember is the morning sunlight cutting through the curtains, warm and golden. I gasped like I'd been underwater. I could move again. My limbs ached like I'd run a marathon in my sleep. I sat up, drenched in sweat. My hair was stuck to my forehead. My shirt was soaked through. I'd never felt that kind of fear before, or since. I looked around, heart still pounding. Everything was in place. The belt, the wallet, the hook on the door. My dad, still asleep, breathing softly like nothing had happened. I wanted to shake him awake, to tell him what I'd seen, but I hesitated. What would I even say? "Dad, there were glitter aliens in our room last night." I ended up whispering to him later that morning that I had a weird dream. He just laughed it off. Everyone did. No one else had experienced anything. I checked on my brother, my grandparents. They were fine, totally normal. I asked my grandpa casually if he'd had any strange dreams. He just raised an eyebrow and kept sipping his coffee. My brother was busy playing with a pine cone. No marks, no memories, nothing. Whatever had happened, it was mine alone to carry. I didn't sleep again, not really. I laid awake every night, eyes locked on the corners of the room, waiting to see those glittering shadows reappear. The rest of the trip dragged on. Days felt longer. The house, once cozy, now felt watchful, like it was holding its breath. I kept catching movement out of the corner of my eye, just quick enough to question, not quick enough to prove, and every creak in the floor, every flicker of light, felt like a warning. When we finally packed up and drove away, I didn't look back. I couldn't. I felt like if I turned around, I might see them standing in the upstairs window. It's been nearly 25 years. I've moved, grown up, got my own place, lived a full life, but I still see that room when I close my eyes. Every inch of it, where the dresser was, the hook behind the door, the pattern in the wallpaper. And I still wonder, what did they do to the rest of my family? What did done mean? Why just the males? Why leave me? And the worst part? Every once in a while, usually when I'm exhausted and lying just on the edge of sleep, I feel that stillness again. Sometimes I wonder if they ever really left, if maybe they're still watching, waiting, or if they marked me somehow, decided I wasn't worth taking but made a note of me anyway. Some nights I'll wake up for no reason, just like back then. No sound, no wind, just that cold stillness wrapping around me like a blanket. And I'll lie there, frozen, heart thudding, eyes wide, waiting to see if something steps out of the shadows. I haven't seen them again. Not yet. But I think they remember me. I thought I could read up on it and perhaps figure out what those creatures was and what they wanted. But I can find anything that resembles what I saw that night in the cute little yellow house. If I have to narrow it down, I'd say it's something between a skinwalker and an alien. Who knows, right? I just pray every night that I never cross paths with those things again.